and Bhutan side, it is 9%. Wherever in all over India, it is only 2%, even less than 2%. At the moment, it is 1.76% practically. Then BVI in motor vehicle agreement has also necessitated for the increased model share from IWT. Then coastal shipping agreement has also started from 2015 and 16, declaring 6 port in Indian side and 6 in Bangladesh sides, allowing the only RSB 3 and 4 vessels for movement. And in fact, it has also not increased because RSB vessels of 3 and 4 types have not yet been constructed in a large number. Although in western sectors, quite a large number of vessels have been constructed, but in the eastern sector, it has not been done. Then use of Mongla and Chittagong port for third country exempt trade for Bhutan and Nepal, that has also necessitated for the IBP routes. Then these are the agreements which has come into in between. This MOU for the passenger ferry vessels movement project development for transit port at Asuganj with container handling facilities, multimodal, then inshore marine trade corridor within 5 nautical miles. And however, this particular trade has also, corridor also has not been so much popular in eastern sectors because of the some weather problems particularly. Then financial assistance for India for developing IBP routes is going on when 80% and 20%, 18% from the Indian side and 20% from the Bangladesh sides, but still they're not happy. They're asking for more for developing the waterway systems, particularly for the transit cargo. Then coastal movement agreement among the countries of the BIMSTEC is also becoming quite popular, and there is a lot of pressures from all the neighboring countries. And that way, this waterway systems in these regions has become important for developing. Then recent policy of the India for IWT movements, there are of course a lot of things are there. Still, practically things have not yet been come up to develop to increase the trade between India and Bangladesh and also to transit trades, unless until what fairways are developed and then certain other regulatory frameworks and then uniform standards for the vessels and all these things are attended to. Then similarly the customs, anyway, I'll come to that point. Cargo projections has been done by HPC and the JMBB project. Then E&Y, that is Ernest and Young, they have also done for IW2 and IBP routes. Hyo Engineering Projects Private Limited has also done the traffics. Then I Marine Private Limited, Tata Consultancies, Rides, KPMG, like that all these people have done, and it is observed that there is no dearth of cargo for this particular routes. Cargo positions from the HPC, that is Hamburg Port Consultancy, and this is that E&Y. Yes, then why these protocol routes or even this inland navigation systems in this eastern grades are not being successful? That is, the fairway and infrastructures have not yet been developed to the standard. Even certain areas, although water will be, quite a lot of waters will be available for 6 months, and the rest of the 6 months it will be dry, or the channel has been shifted to this side or that side. So therefore, this fairway and infrastructures means the terminal, unless until it is developed in fully in a scientifically and modern facilities, the goal cannot be achieved. Then navigation aids and channel marking, this is another important area. Shortage of fleets of fuel efficient and economical designs, this is also another gray area. Certified and competent crew, legal and regulatory frameworks, that is the Inland Vessel Act of 2021 is a modern one in India, whereas Bangladesh, they have the Bangladesh Shipping Ordinance 1976, and in 1985 they have framed the rules and regulations, and which they are highly, substandards. I should not give examples also on that. Even they allow for construction of the vessels with scrap steels, second-hand marine engines, equipments, and all these things. Classification societies is not allowed. Without that, also they are constructing a large number of vessels, and the certified crews are also not there. Even if we have, whenever I was in charge for this Bangladesh, we had brought out quite a lot of lacunas, but this was not attended to. It was rather taken up in the highest level, and then they told that it is going to affect our economy, so we cannot do it, and that way the things are going on. Then adequate transit ports and transport facilities also one of the factors. Customers friendly and custom procedure and clearance is another factors. Then adequate return cargo and transit cargo is there. Of course it is there, but because of all these problems, nobody is interested to come through inland waterway systems. Then tariff is another factors. At the moment, as per the Indo-Bangladesh protocol, it is a common tariff. It is $14 per ton. Although it is acceptable to the Bangladeshi vessels or Bangladeshi operators, Indian operators do not accept this one as adequate. Then effective trade cooperation and bilateral economics relations is also another issue, and institutional strengthening is totally absent. So, uniform and standard regulatory framework for inland vessels is extremely necessary. For Inland Vessel Act of 1921 from Indian side is okay. It can also be further improved, but Bangladesh Ordinance 1976, they have not come forward. And as far as I understand, they have done some things, but it has not yet been declared or notified. And even then, it will not match to the requirement of, to the standard of 2021 of IV vessels. Indian IV vessels, IV Act. Then corresponding rules and regulations for all chapters for Bangladesh's vessels as per the 1985 are also do not match at all. As I have already told, classification societies for design and constructions and maintenance, they do not accept this one. Without that, everything is going on, education, training, and absence. These are the areas where uniform and standard regulatory framework is essential. If at all we have to have a vibrant inland water systems in these regions. Then Ferry Act also is important. Then financial assistance for shipbuildings, like the financial assistance policy, whatever is available for Indian shipbuilders, that should be extended, or there should be some sort of similar arrangements between both the governments. Then shipbuilding financial assistance policy 2024 covering the green vessels, like 30% for fully electrical and 20% for like methane, ethanes, that sort of things. They do not have any policy of this type of things. Harit Nauka schemes, that green transitions for inland fleets, which has been approved by Government of India, and then now they are coming up with the centrally sponsored scheme under this, where 60% will come the central government and then 40% will be the state government. If this sort of policies are not extended to Bangladesh, then whole idea of having a uniform systems and then vibrant systems within these regions will not be possible. Then tonnage tax regimes, freight subsidy, incentives, model ships like Marco Polo adopted in the European Union to the inland fleets, although it is not there in India also, but whenever we are considering for developing this one, then this is also necessary. Similarly, financial assistance for India to Bangladesh in form of freight subsidy is essentials. Then another one is absent, that is inland vessel chartering, making both for India and Bangladesh is absent. This should be developed. Then transport subsidies extended to rail and road for Northeastern Railway for other mode of transport should also be extended. That's what through various forum in Calcutta, now it has become a demand to the ministry. Similarly, uniform standard technical requirements for fairways and infrastructure is necessary. Fairway means the channel where the width, LED, that is least available depth, safe navigation clearance, then bend radius, these are most important. Then infrastructures, of course, the jetties and terminals, then efficient cargo handling equipments, then modern navigation aids for day and night navigations, and river information systems. And last, this computerization and digitization is also essential if you have to make it a more efficient and vibrant. Apart from this, this Jangipur, that is hardly 30 kilometers downstream of Farakka, wherever the Farakka barrage has been constructed, and then Ganga River water is diverted to Hooghly River. There was a navigation lock for connecting to River Padma that has been abandoned for the last 30 years. Immediately after the construction, the trial was constructed, and then after a year or two, it has been abandoned because of various other technical reasons. So now this should be revised so that at least all these vessels coming from north, Patna and Allahabad, should not come to Calcutta and then go via Sundarban areas. That way they can straightway avoid 600 kilometers. So this is a one step for which already USAID has approached. Even the World Bank is also approached that why don't you allow us to develop this one after settling all the disputes between India and Bangladesh. This is a very, very important issue. Then apart from that, development of Balagad as an inland water transit port on river Hooghly, that is 90 kilometers upstream of Calcutta. This is also another where this Balagad can be a transit port. Yeah, then I'm coming to the NW5. This is Brahmani, Baitarani and Mahanadi river systems. Central government, this IWT has taken up now Talchet to Paradip and Dhamra in phase 1 and 2 phases, phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 was already been studied, designs of the barrages, ways, navigation locks have been completed in 2017, and now recently only this phase 2, that is between has been taken up recently with Chennai, IIT Chennai, and it has been completed, and therefore next week perhaps minister is coming for final discussions with the SPB parties like IWI, Ministry of Shipping, Odisha government, Coal India Limited and Paradip Lim. Once it is finalized, perhaps within this year only this is going to be launched. But this East Coast Canal, which is connected to Goenkhali, this NW1, and then Indo-Bangladesh protocol route, that has remained neglected. So unless until this is developed and connected to NW1 and NW2, this so-called Eastern Waterways grid cannot be realized for NW5. So therefore this issue should be taken up by state government. So that's where I'm requesting this gathering that this should also be taken up in our minutes. Then futurist measures should be the setting of the regional IWT authority for overall development and maintenance, management, regulating the administrators of inland navigations of all the IWP routes. This is the one regional IWT. Then setting of the regional IWT centers, training centers, then strengthening of the institutional mechanisms, capacity development for all the IWT sectors, then digitizations, river information systems for e-navigations, then harmonizations of the taxes, waterways, pilot tests, then commercial rate, tariff, these are also essential. And finally, this is the way forward, how to develop this Western waterways grid and regional connectivity. So that's for that, all these regional framework institutions shared or single management that has to be decided between all these four countries. I mean, this Bhutan, Nepal, and India and Bangladesh. Then trade protocols to be enhanced among the BBN countries, that is Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, and Nepal. Then harmonizations of uniform navigation standard for fairway and terminal infrastructures, uniform vessel standards, then uniform operational conditions, then uniform policies on cargo promotions, tariff, customs, then coastal and inland waterways integrations, that is RSB and inland vessels, development of NW5 East Coast Canal systems, and for which awareness for developing inland waterways is more important than the coastal highways. Then convincing, of course, MPSO, I'm repeating the same things, to ministry and IWA and state for developing NW5 along with ECC, East Coast Canal, for integrating with Eastern waterways grid. And these are to give some ideas about the vessels which are operating on the inland waterways. These are type of vessels, and 90% of the vessels are from Bangladesh. And these are the Indian vessels. Again, some of the vessels are, our Indian vessels are also substandards. The Roro service which are operating in Sahibganj and areas are also highly, but not up to the safety standards. Thank you for the attention.
The first session comes to an end, and we'll request the chairman of the session to give mementos to the authors who have spoken. Professor Bhaskaran, please. Can the authors please come forward?
Dr. Ashwini Otta.
Now it is my pleasant duty to give a memento to the chairman of the session. I think the second session continues.
Now, looking at the time available, there will be 15 minutes gap between the end of the session and the entertainment program. That to start at 6:30. Anyway, the next talk is uh, sustainable strategy for preservation of coastal inlets on the Odisha coast. It is by Sanmuga Priya S. Rajkumar and Basant Kumar Jaina, but it will be presented by Sri J. Rajkumar. He is a scientist from NIWT working under Coastal and Environmental Engineering Group. At present, he is carrying out operation and maintenance of coastal HF radar installed along Indian coast, carrying out shallow water breath, Bathray survey along east coast of India under EEZ survey. So with this, I welcome the speaker to give his talk.
Good evening to one and all present here. First, thank Frost 2024 for giving this opportunities. So I am going to present the sustainable strategies for preserving coastal inlets in the Odisha coast. Actually, inlets play a major role in ecology and economical in this region, and inlets particularly place where that important for the conservations efforts, particularly for endangered species like sea turtle, and prominent the Odisha coast is having the 480-kilometer long coastlines having 22 inlets, and prominent inlets are from the river Devi, Brahmani, Mahanadi, Subarnareka, and Rustrikula rivers. And these inlets are vulnerable to the erosion. And these erosions due to the longshore, obstructions in the longshore transport due to man-made activities and high wave activity, and decline in the sediment supply from the upstream of the rivers, and cyclonic events. See, these are the events play a major role for the coastal inlets. For this particular study, to carry out the long-term shoreline analysis for the Odisha coast and identifying the critical inlets and study the dynamics, and also and further study about the other events like discharge from the rivers, climatic events, and other factors affecting the morphology. The longshore sediment transport will be estimated based on the digital shoreline analysis systems from the DSAS tool. The inputs is actually the satellite images from the different resolutions, and particularly for this Odisha coast, we have used 3 satellites images, Landsat, Sentinel, and ResourceSat with the different resolutions. That this particular DSAS tool estimates the shoreline rate based on the EPR, WLR, LLR methods, but particularly for this study, we used weighted linear regressions, and the aggressions rate is estimated WLR, but classification is based on 5 meter and above, we can call it as a aggression. 5 meter to 1 meter, we call it as a moderate aggression. 1 meter to -1 meter, we classify as a stable coast. -1 meter to 5 meter, we can call it as a moderate erosion, and -5 meter, less than 5 meter, we consider as a high erosion zones, based on this classification. Actually, based on for the entire Odisha coast, from this DSAS tool, it is identified that maximum erosion about 25 meter has been noted at the north of the coastal inlets like Subarnika, Baitrani, Brahmani and Mahanidi, but maximum accretions at 31 meter point are estimated from the results from the south of these rivers actually. And discharge from the Mahanidi varies from 31 cubic meter to 56,700 cubic meter. This is a tidal variations along the Odisha coast from southern part to the up to the West Bengal. The Kalingapatnam to Haldia, that MSL varies from 1 meter to 3.2 meter, and tidal range at Gopalpur, it is actually 2 meter tidal range, whereas in Diga will experience as a 4 meter tidal range actually. From southern to north, the tidal variation is increasing in Odisha. And similarly for wave climate, simulations were carried out for North Indian oceans for estimating the wave climate, particularly for Odisha coast. The wave simulation from 1998 to 2020 were carried out. From off Diga, it is observed that the wave directions from southern, but below south to Gopalpur and other locations, it is wave direction, predominant wave direction coming around 180 to 200. From the extreme value analysis of design wave parameter, it is observed that wave height of this Odisha coast varies from 7 to 9 meter from 1 in 100-year return period. And cyclones, particularly since 1990 onwards, Odisha regularly affecting by the severe cyclonic storms. The major of Pailin, Hudhud, Titli and Amban are happened in 2013 to 21. And normally in Odisha coast, that season starts from May to June and increase peaks in August and decrease low frequency in the month of November and December. NIOT has placed 2 HF radars for surface current and wave measurements at Gopalpur and Puri, operation since 2009 onwards. And here we have presented about that various cyclonic events crossed landfall at Odisha coast. One of the major is actually 1999 Odisha super cyclone. It was hit on Paradip, Odisha. And from this total cyclonic events, the y-axis we presented as the frequency. Over 1997 to 2024, we have the frequency, it is showing the increasing trend actually over the year. Particularly for Bay of Bengal, increasing trend will be minimal, but Arabian Sea increasing trend will be more actually. Similarly for the sediment load and discharge measurements from the various rivers, particularly 4 rivers as presented here. From this actually, that Mahanidi is having the more peak actually, discharge peak at 33 cubic meter per seconds during 1980. And average also more actually compared to the other rivers. From the disaster tools, it is observed that the inlets in the Rusikala river mouth is having the minor erosions in northern sides of the river, but southern sides it's having the stable here. And sand speeds are varying here actually. This was noticed from the analysis. Similarly for Devi river, we have noticed that both erosion at the north and southern side. Similarly for Mahanadi river, we have observed a stable aggression coast, but some of the erosions are identified from the southern side location 14 kilometers south of that one actually. Similarly for Brahmani river also, we have a aggression trend, but southern side of that Brahmani, we have actually erosion, and northern side of the river also, we have noticed that erosion. And Subarnakarika river mouth, we have faced both erosion trend in the mouth actually. inlet mouth. That's also higher inlet mouth.